Hi everybody, it's Lewis here with one of the tutors for the Level 4 program. Just going to introduce and go through this next topic, which is to do with understanding the New Zealand healthcare system or the nature of our health profession in New Zealand. And part B, or the second part of it, is an essay type format to show your understanding of what scope of practice is about for healthcare professions. So two parts, poster and then an essay type format. So the first thing we're going to do is just to have a look at the poster on Moodle and just talk you through that. So if you see here, we've got the two tasks and the resources for each one of them, and we'll just go through that firstly. And you'll see on the screen at the moment, there's the two poster resources, which we'll come back to, and then there's a list of the resources for the scope of practice essay, which we'll come back to. Below that, you'll see the two assessments, one for the poster and one for the essay. So look, I'd just like to do two little recordings, one to talk you through the poster assessment and the resources, and then we'll do another one for the essay aspect of the assessment and the resources for that. So here I am opening up the poster assessment task. And once that's up, we'll just have a fly through that and just look at what's in it. All right, so poster. This is a electronic or a hard copy poster, and you can do it in either one of those, whichever works best for you. If you're doing a hard copy, which is using an A3 sized page and drawing or putting little pieces of text, cutting different things. Once you've done it in a hard copy, you can take a photo of that and attach that to an email or put it in the Dropbox. So let's look through this now. You'll see we're going to describe the nature of the healthcare profession in New Zealand. It's worth, actually that's wrong, it should be 20%, I'll fix that. But you can see here that it's describing, you're required to investigate and describe the nature of the healthcare profession in New Zealand. In order to do this, you're going to research or do some inquiry to look at some things to do with creating a poster. So some things are described here below that show you the sort of things to have that make a poster work. And then the content of the poster is described on the second page. So two parts to this poster. You'll see in the poster format, you've got one part, which is this part, that looks at describing some levels, layers, and language that are specific to the health system. So in your poster, we're wanting you to include primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of the health system. So from primary, which is closest to home, your GP practice, your community services; secondary, which is your hospital level services where the specialists are located; and then tertiary is like your specialist. So some places around the country only have services that you'd have to get referred on to. Starship in Auckland for Children is one of those tertiary level services that we don't have everything we need within our hospital. And so tertiary is where you may go into the hospital here and then get referred on to a specialist service somewhere else in the country. You'll see there's a list of things here that we want you to consider putting into your poster. So look at trying to locate those things in some sort of a visual way into half of your poster. So there's two zones. One is about the big picture. One is about the structure, the design, the layout, the levels of how to actually explain the connection of these things within our health system. So this, we'll look at some resources in a minute that will help explain that. The second half of the poster, you need to have some space to choose one health service that has a range of health professionals. And in that other half of your poster, you're going to get into some detail about one healthcare provider, a health and disability provider within the community. So it should be a service that's within our Bay of Plenty, and it should be one that includes the role of the healthcare assistant. So we want you to sort of think about these 5 points in your description. And so you're going to have some blocks of text that explains these things. Where does this service fit into the bigger picture that you've designed and structured above? What is the key function of this named service? Who are the clients? What are they providing care for? What's their main primary sort of function as being a healthcare service provider? Who are their clients? Who uses the service? So tell us a little bit about the sort of people that come there and what they need and what they go to that service for. And what's the role of the healthcare assistant within that particular service? And then lastly, briefly describe the links that a healthcare assistant would have with other health professionals. So how do they work with the team members within that health service? So really, you're going to have to sort of think about your layout, because you've got 2 blocks of different things to put onto your poster. One, the big picture, our New Zealand healthcare system structure, design, and the second part, choosing one provider and then giving a bit of depth and detail using these 5 points for that other half of your poster. All right. The last thing in this little assessment document is the rubric, and you'll see that it follows those 2 zones in how it's appointing the points for it. You'll see the second part, to do with the one provider, has got a mark total of 10 to 12 points. And the more of those 5 points that you show in your description of that one provider, the more points you'll get allocated in that half of the task. The first half of the rubric, you get up to 8 points to describe the nature, the design of our New Zealand healthcare profession, and how well you show that visually in the half of the poster will give the marks up to a total of 8. All right, so let's just go out of that and back up to the resources, and you'll see really we've just got 2 resources for the poster. One is a PowerPoint and one is a poster. So if we look at the poster, you'll basically get once you open that, you'll see that there's a description on one page of our complicated healthcare system. And you can use some of that to help guide you as to how to show the connections of these services from the New Zealand government to the health ministry, to the district health boards, to the primary healthcare level, and down to other services that are at a community level, like your non-government organisations. A lot of Maori providers or Pacific Health providers are called NGOs. They're not government connected, but they do get some funding from the government to do the care that they do. So you'll see a poster, and the other one that you'll see is the healthcare PowerPoint. And this will help to explain some parts of that poster if you haven't really sort of understood or known how these things connect. So I just suggest you go through that, and that you use both the poster as a guide and the PowerPoint to deepen your understanding of these connections to do with the design and the structure. So have a go at that, and then if you've got some questions, get back to your tutor, and we can give you a bit of guidance, and we can just help explain anything to do with those 2 resources for the poster. All the best. Look forward to hearing from you.